that as close as you can get it? 1 minute to spare?
That's great, Kate. Welcome. All right, and we're live. Do you want to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if we're having any issues? But with that, we're going to kick it off. My name's Neil. I am going to share my screen here and get this ball rolling. Welcome to the top 20 pitch night of our third annual Cleantech Summit. I'm Neil. I'm the Calgary lead with Startup TNT. Also started as an investor with TNT when they first came into Calgary in the fall of 2019. And I'm happy to be co-leading this summit with my good friend, Jade Alberts.
Hello, everybody. I just rolled in hot. I've been investing for about 8 years, in the last 3 years exclusively through TNT, but I consider myself an entrepreneur and an ecosystem partner who loves giving back and sharing. So I always say less of me and more of you makes for a good show. So let's roll, Neil.
All right. Well, before we get started, so I'm super excited that everybody's here. But I just want to know that you are on the Cleantech Top 20 Pitch Night stream. If you're here expecting life sciences or ag tech, you may have clicked on the wrong link. You're more than welcome to stay. It's going to be a ton of fun. But just so everybody knows, this is the Cleantech Top 20. This is the first time we've done 3 of these at the same time. Just want to make sure we know. All right. So telling stories is an integral part of what we do here at Startup TNT and what we do largely in the community. So we'll be sharing a lot of stories tonight, both at the pitch night and after. And even though we're not physically in the same venue at the moment, we still are connected through the land beneath our feet. So tonight we want to honor those elders whose stories this land carries, and that we acknowledge that this land is the traditional territory of the people of treaties 1 through 11 and those beyond, depending where in Canada you're joining us from. We acknowledge that this land was the traditional meeting ground, gathering place, and traveling route for the Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Oji-Cree, and Dene peoples. We acknowledge the nations of the Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota Sioux, the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai, and the Tsuut'ina, as well as the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived on this land before us, and we aim to create a safe space for all Indigenous communities. Tonight, we honor their mission to gather the community and share stories.
And, now we're getting into the TNT. In fact, TNT has been an integral part of this system, growing our angel investments and being a big part of why the startups and entrepreneurs are becoming successful. It started in 2019 as a happy hour in Edmonton where investors, founders, supporters would get together and, again, make friends, have fun, and build companies. From that, it basically turned into a summit where a handful of them said, hey, we can do this. We're accredited investors. Let's go after it. And now we are 196 weeks later across 5 cities, hosting 3 summits at one time. We all wish they were live, but because they are across the prairies, we can't be, but the finale will be live. And more importantly, we've introduced well over 250 new angel investors into our ecosystem. And we've basically invested over $9 million into 65 companies. So, of course, we could not do this alone. We have some amazing partners, across every single summit. So whether it be Amy or BDC or Edmonton Unlimited, for the ones that you can see here, again, we can't do it alone, but more importantly for this summit, Foresight has been there from the get-go. They've been there, they've been strong, the leaders in clean tech and what they do in our ecosystem. So we're very, very happy and very proud to call them a partner. And of course, last but not least, these, again, we just can't do it alone, but the one that I just kind of want to give a little shout out to, my dog wants some love here, is CBRE. So they've been here right since day one of Summit 1. And, there's just a little plug for them because, we're always happy with the people that have been there from the start with us. So, Neil?
Yeah, absolutely. And John Fisher with CBRE, I think, was the very first co-host for the very first pitch night with Zach back in 2020 when you and I joined as investors. So, so they've been there for a while. All right, so why do we invest in startups? There's a ton of reasons why people do this, and everybody's investment thesis is different. But fundamentally, raising early stage capital is so very difficult. We want to give more companies the ability to build here, to hire here, to live here, and to thrive here. We support local entrepreneurs, which in turn supports our local economy and brings further investment that goes into our local community. Startups need to know that they have the opportunity to raise that vital early stage capital where they and their families live and to build here. We want to make it as accessible and simple as we can for investors to get involved to support these awesome companies. And we want to invest more than just capital, and this is super important. These awesome founders need introductions and connections to industry experts who can mentor and share and advise. They need opportunities to elevate their startups in community and beyond through things like interviews and podcasts and news articles and talking about them. They need a community of peers and supporters who can help solve their problems in real time. And if I look at the list of people that are on the Zoom chat right now, I'm blown away at the potential to support all these founders pitching tonight. So I encourage you all to do what you can to support these amazing local companies and to have them support our communities and industries.
Well, I think that's a highlight of that, right? I mean, we have, we'll have 19 companies pitching tonight. Unfortunately, one couldn't make it, but they need stuff not only from investors, they need stuff from whether it be introductions or anything at all. But realistically, that's what we are as an ecosystem. So how this process works is we all commit a minimum of $5,000 to pre-commit before we even know who's going to win the summit. Obviously, someone who's done quite a few of them. I love that. I love the team effort that goes in, that goes into doing the due diligence of this. The 30 other investors that we have are all rock solid, and the trust that we have in them, that team effort is priceless. But for the next basically 8 weeks, we will be doing due diligence, breaking down into smaller groups, looking into these companies. When they do them, when we get through the due diligence, we also have a little breakdown every Wednesday, talk about all the companies. Are they investable? We also ask the entrepreneurs what they need, what they can help with, how we can help them with it. So after we do that, we go through our top 5 pitch night where we will be doing that live. Ours is going to be in Edmonton. And the biggest check we've cut, I believe, is $565,000 to a company, and the smallest has been about $25,000. So that's what makes it fun. What's that? Go ahead, Neil.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, because last year when we did this, we invested $562,000 into 5 companies across the prairies, and with EMS out of Saskatoon and Edmonton winning, which is pretty cool.
No, absolutely. And more importantly, again, we have these 30 angels around the table that have picked these top 20 companies. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is get into the top 20 because we don't get a chance to really dive in. It's looking at a pitch deck. It's looking at what we do. But again, we have investors and companies from all across the prairies, 20 startups. We've sold 150 plus tickets, 5 after parties. Again, we'll plug it again. Whoever wants to come down to Intercity Brewing tonight, we will be there. Neil and I will be there. Other investors will be there. Come have a few drinks and let's talk about the great pitches we're about to see.
100%. All right. So who's pitching tonight? I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this slide because we're going to watch them all actually pitch here in a few minutes. So yeah, but look at the sheer variety of the cool clean tech companies that are coming out of the prairies here. We got bioprocessing, geothermal, solar, wind, construction materials, carbon fiber, carbon credits, and so much more. It's going to be an exciting night, and we are going to get rolling here soon. So in terms of the agenda, how tonight's going to work, like Jade said, we have 19 pitches tonight. Unfortunately, one founder wasn't able to make it, but they're still very much part of the summit. So we're excited to dig into the due diligence on them here over the next week. Each company gets 5 minutes in total. They have 3 minutes to pitch and 2 minutes for Q&A. So there's a little bit of variability in that. We're not going to send a hook off the stage to pull them out at 3 minutes exactly, but the 5 minutes is sort of the solid time frame that we're aiming for. Now, we got 80 people on this call. So audience, what can you do? Again, we want to support these founders. So it's your job to cheer these amazing entrepreneurs on. Put comments about their pitch in the chat. Try to keep it constructive. We also encourage questions. Each of the founders, when they wrap up their 5 minutes, are going to be engaging in the chat and they can answer questions. Zoom has a new thread feature, which is a really, really handy thing for keeping the conversations concise. Yeah, let's keep it lively. Introduce yourselves to a founder that you think you can help. Introduce yourself just generally to somebody else. Have fun, make friends, and we're going to have a great night. So like Jade mentioned, we have 5 after parties across the prairies after the 3 pitch nights that are all going at the same time. I'm not going to read them all. We'll revisit them here a little bit throughout the night. If you want to contribute to the bar tab and have some fun with your friends, you can also donate to Cheers at startuptnt.com. And with that, I think our night is almost ready to begin. Our first co-host for the evening is Leslie with our great friends at Foresight, again, who have been sponsoring this Clean Tech Summit since inception. So that's 3 years now, and they've been amazing to work with. Leslie's going to let you know a little bit about her and Foresight, and then she's going to introduce our first founder. So the Q&A for this next section is going to be done by our friend, TNT investor, and our first bar tab donator, Stephanie Bailey. So with that, I'll let Leslie take the screen.
Thanks so much, and hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great day today. I'm calling in from Treaty 7 territory in Calgary and looking forward to speaking with you all this evening. So I'm with Foresight Canada, and Cleantech innovation really does start at Foresight. Our goal is to help Canada become the first G7 country to reach net zero. We help accelerate the transition in a variety of ways in collaboration with a bunch of different stakeholder groups, including innovators, industry, investors, government, and academia. And together we are relentlessly driving clean tech innovation in Canada. And at Foresight, we do that through our accelerator programs, which are focused exclusively on clean tech. We drive innovation challenges with industry and government and other adopters. We also have a capital attraction program that I'll talk a little bit more about. We also help with export development and ecosystem building. So a variety of ways that we accelerate clean tech, not just through companies, although that is a real core of the work that we do. We also connect with investors to attract capital into Canada's clean tech startups. And so that's part of why we're speaking with you here this evening and excited to be part of the amazing work that startup TNT does. And we are very proud of the work that we've done in the Prairie specifically. This is reporting on data from Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba since 2019. We've worked with over 248 companies, of whom 90 have reported and told us that they've raised over $215 million in private capital and generated $187 million in revenue. Just these 89 companies alone generated over 2,000 green jobs and secured other sources of funding and impact as well. So we are really proud of the companies that we work with in Canada, but also in the Prairies, some of whom you're going to hear a little bit more from this evening. In terms of the work that we do with clean tech startups, the Investor Readiness Workshop Series is one way that we help clean tech startups get ready to raise and meet with investors. And if you are a clean tech company on the call today that you're not involved with the summit or maybe looking for future opportunities, we do have a cohort starting later this next month, and you can apply by March 3rd. I'll leave the link in the chat below, or my colleague David will leave the chat there. The other initiative I wanted to share with you is our Foresight 50 program, which is our nationwide list of Canada's 50 most investable clean tech companies in Canada. We have 4 virtual matchmaking events happening to connect investors to those 50 companies over the next handful of months. The first one is on March 20th. And I would love to be in touch with you if you're a company that wants to learn more about our supports and services, or if you're an investor who's looking to connect into the clean tech ecosystem in other ways. So I've got my information up on the slide here, and I look forward to being in touch with you all soon if you're interested. And with that, we're going to roll straight into the first presentation. I'm very pleased to hand it over to Brita Lind of Prairie Clean Energy. Over to you, Brita.
Thank you, Leslie. Thanks a lot. And thanks to Foresight for all the great work you're doing. That's amazing. All right. There is a world shortage of biomass fuel. The main go-to product in the world for biomass is our wood pellets, and it's used to get away from coal and natural gas for power generation and heat generation. There's a 3.6 million ton shortfall right now and a 15 million ton projected by 2025. Huge problem. So huge that the UK is telling its citizens to be prepared to have their power shut off for a couple hours every day because they don't have enough biomass fuel for power generation. Here's the answer. There's 1.1 million tons of straw are burned every year on the Canadian and US prairies. This is an actual photo taken in Saskatchewan of burning straw in the fields. And there are 60 million tons of unutilized straw waste per year on the Canadian prairies alone. Huge. What does Prairie Clean Energy do? We turn unutilized ag waste into biomass fuel. Now, there's 4,800 power plants worldwide, another 1,200 coming on at the end of the decade. These are primarily in Asia and Europe and the UK, but don't kid yourself, it's all coming here. It's a huge, huge world piece. It's a $120 billion TAM per year. Okay, there's no shortage of great ideas out there, but you have to have the right team to make sure that they go over the finish line, they grow, and they get bigger and profitable. And I like to call our team persistence. I'm not going to go through everyone, but I'm going to touch on a few pieces. Mark Cooper, our CEO, full-time CEO. He's just on his way back from Japan, where he was the only business person invited by the Saskatchewan government, the Minister Harrison, with Trade and Economic Development, to go on a trade mission to Japan on sustainability. Dr. Mahmoud Abadian, or as I like to call him, the Wayne Gretzky of bioenergy. He is an expert on biofuel, bioenergy, bioeconomy, and supply chain logistics. He's amazing, and he's on our team. Hank Froese, 20 years of experience working with farmers on the logistics of getting straw off the fields. It doesn't stop there, though. We have 420,000 tons of pellets on offtake agreements and MOUs for 23 and halfway to 2024. We have 25,000 acres of fiber under right of first refusal contracts. We have a patent pending on our pellet recipe. It's not simple. Turning ag waste into pellets is not as easy as wood. We spent 2 years doing research. We know we can do it, and our concept proves out. We project that we'll be cash flow positive on our first facility, and our projection is to produce 1 million tons of pellets by the end of 2027. The time to get in with Prairie Clean Energy is now, and here's why. We are ready to press go. We have the recipe set, we've got the right team, we've got the recipe, and we've got the equipment right size. We know exactly what we're doing, and now we're just ready to put the equipment into our facility. Our raise that we're looking at is $5 million US. We are not expecting this to come from startup TNT. We have many pathways towards this. Our minimum investment is $25K. What we are looking for from you are investors who are innovative, investors who are into clean tech, investors to be champions for what we're doing, investors who want to have fun and work with a team who is persistent and focused and willing to learn and grow. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great night. I'm ready for questions.
Thank you, Rita. Great presentation. Definitely a problem that we can all contribute to and that we see that needs solving. I want to ask you a little bit about the financials. So in your slide, you indicated that 3.5 million is capital expenditure. So that's really about building the facility. And this would be a commercial facility, or is this your test facility?
We're not building. We have an existing facility, so we don't have to go from the ground up. And it is the processing facility. And actually we're saying we're looking for building a net zero biohub, because our plans are to make it net zero as we're working on this. It's not good enough to just be producing fiber there and doing the pellets. It's also to get to use sun and solar, et cetera, to make sure that we're net zero on it.
Perfect. So governments across Canada and worldwide are looking at incentive packages. Are you leveraging any of government funding or any kind of emissions trading credits, anything like that to help facilitate your costs?
Yes, we are working. We have leveraged every single piece of grants and anything we can get into. We are applying right, left, and center. Dr. Abadian is also, that's in his area. So he's working on all those pieces, and we have leveraged everything. And we're always talking to our provincial government, who's amazing to work with on how they can help us.
I agree. The Saskatchewan government is wonderful to work with. One last question regarding the government. Are there any regulatory hurdles that you're facing in getting this project going?
No, not at all. We just need you all to invest. And then let's go on a meteoric rise together.
That sounds like a great plan. Thank you so much for your time, Brita.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Awesome job. That was great. And we're ready to move on now to our second pitch this evening. We have Ashish Rangari from NanoSoln. Over to you, Ashish.
Thank you very much. Just gonna share my screen. Perfect. Thank you very much, Leslie. Been a Foresight graduate, so I understand the value Foresight brings into each and every startup company. So thank you very much for being there. And Startup TNT, personal thank you to you guys for giving a NanoSolution an opportunity to present today. So with this premise, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashish Rangari. I am CEO and co-founder of NanoSolution. NanoSolution is a nanotechnology-based solution provider for industrial wastewater treatment. Our cross-functional team has 40 plus years of industrial wastewater treatment, nanotechnology development, business development experience, and is very motivated to solve industrial water treatment pain points. Our current beachhead market is with SAGD operators in Western Canada. They are currently dealing with high operational cost as a result of high oil content, silica, and hardness in their produced water. We offer 3 products focused on the specific needs of the customer: dissolved contaminants, tailings, inert contaminants like metformin in water, but our beachhead product for this market is nanofilters. NanoSolution has designed its product with food-grade nanoparticle that are easily integrated with current processes without any modification or increasing the project footprint, while delivering upwards of 2x process efficiency. We are currently the industrial water treatment market is very hot due to stringent regulation, stakeholder management, and company pushing hard to meet ESG goals along with UN sustainability goals. Based on our deep understanding of the market, NanoSolution will generate revenue from its product sales, consulting, and package solution. Currently, NanoSolution is in pre-field testing with 2 major SAGD producers and a marine channel partner in the UK. The testing commenced on January 23rd of this year, and we are seeing results that will lead into field testing. We have designed our product around the idea of delivering incremental innovation to increase the absorption rate. Currently, NanoSolution is looking to raise $500,000 to fuel its commercial pilot testing that is tentatively planned for late Q2 and early Q3 of this year. Thank you very much for your time. I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much, Ashish. So one of the things I want to ask you a little bit about is your sales trajectory. Are you earning revenue now? And what are your revenue projections over the next few years?
Totally. So at this moment, we are in testing phase, so no revenue is generated at this moment. But we have a strong interest coming from the operators, and they are paying for this pilot. So with that in mind, we are anticipating the revenue will be going into $5 to $10 million with initial 33% business capture from the existing business of these operators.
Okay, great. And supposing you do win an investment or win the summit, what would you do with the proceeds from Startup TNT?
Sure, totally. So good question there. So 75% of that proceed will be used to hire the technical team members and to fund our pilot program. In addition to this, we'll be investing to increase the headcount on the commercial side to expand the business and get the customer known about the product so we can quickly convert them into paid customers.
Okay. And one last question. This is the tough one. When we're looking at water technologies, there's been a lot of water technologies out there for years, especially, Alberta, there's a lot going on, and Saskatchewan as well in the oil field with these types of technologies. What sets your technology apart, and how are you going to get the word out that your product is the best one on the market? Totally.
So you have to understand the client's or customer's pain point, because if you go solve each and every problem, the value has been diminished. So what we are doing is with each product, we are focused on solving very particular issues. So for example, SAGD, it's your oil content in your water, your silica and hardness. When you move towards the tailing is your fine tailings or your matured fine tailings that are very hard to settle down. And it takes years of time, or if not without any additional chemical, it takes years of time to settle down on its own. So we are looking at very specific pain points, and we're trying to solve very specific pain points of the clients. And in that sense, it gives us an edge to move forward into commercializing of the technology. And the second thing is this: why would the customer choose us over the competition out there? The reason why is we're not changing any of the processes. What we're doing is we're taking the existing black box, we're adding our black box. And that black box is increasing your efficiency by 2x and reducing your overall CapEx by overall OpEx by close to 30%. 30% is too high. It's close to 15%. Okay.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for your presentation, and we look forward to getting to know you better over the coming weeks. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And with that, I will hand it over to Sean Collins of Varme Energy. Over to you, Sean.
Thanks. Awesome. Perfect. Really appreciate the time today and the invitation to pitch in front of the Startup TNT group. I'm Sean Collins, CEO for Varme Energy. At Varme, we're on a mission to change the future of waste in Canada. Across the country, about 26 million tons of garbage winds up in a landfill every year. In Edmonton and Calgary alone, it's about 1 million tons per year, which is the weight equivalent of 3 Empire State Buildings that we throw away on a landfill to become permanent features on our land. We think there's a much better way and have adopted European technology to develop waste to energy projects with integrated carbon capture and storage. The quick overview on our projects is diverting the garbage trucks from the landfill into 2-stage combustion power generation facilities that generate clean electricity from the assets and sequester the carbon permanently underground. We leverage a proven operating technology called Litus that has been built across a number of facilities in Norway and Europe, successfully deployed over hundreds of thousands of hours of runtime to date. In the Canadian marketplace, we have developed a significant portfolio of projects in development so far. Average project ticket size is about $250 million CapEx to process 150,000 tons of waste per year. Our first project over the finish line will be in the Alberta Industrial Heartland, just northeast of Edmonton. Also have projects in development in Regina and Innisfail. The traction to date for us, we've been able to secure a power commitment on our first project worth over $220 million. We've also had a commitment from the Norwegian federal government to provide a 50% loan guarantee to the first project, as well as a lender that's expressed interest in providing $100 million in subordinated debt to the first project. We're into feed study, expecting to achieve financial close on first facility mid-year 2023. And in total, the active development portfolio is about $930 million to date. So we're raising a $2 to $4 million round, have secured a lead investor through our partner in Norway, Green Transition Holding. Feel there's incredibly strong fundamentals to the industry ahead. Our business model is to extract a development fee from the projects that we successfully execute and to reinvest that in equity in the projects to provide our investors access to a 25-year stream of dividends associated with the projects. As part of our top co-investment round, we're also including investment rights to the projects themselves for folks who want exposure to the investment in the assets themselves. Really fired up about the market opportunity ahead in waste to energy. In Europe, about 30% of waste goes to waste to energy facilities. If that same ratio is to come through in North America, as we expect, we'll see the build out of about 350 new waste to energy facilities in North America over the next 30 years. Our ambition is to capture 5% market share of this market, which would result in a total CapEx deployment potential of about $4 billion. Our current trajectory, if we're able to secure that market share, we see the potential of us being worth over $700 million. And if the market increases and our ability to capture increases, we see a line of sight to having a multi-billion-dollar valuation as a company. So really appreciate the time today. Thrilled at the audience and the excitement, and happy to participate.
Great. Thank you, Sean. One of my questions is really around your process and your technology itself. So if I'm understanding the premise correctly, you're taking waste and rather than going to a landfill, you're combusting it and you're capturing those emissions and storing the emissions. Is there any concern with emissions other than combustion emissions, like the carbon dioxide? When I consider what's going in the trash, is there a concern for combusting some plastics or other things that may have other toxics? Are there any other environmental risks, or is there a permitting process that's a regulatory hurdle for you guys with this facility?
Yeah, so the core technology, the IETOS gasification technology that we own the rights to in Canada, 2-stage combustion technology, gasification and oxidation. Second phase chamber of the process is over 1,000 degrees Celsius, so designed around having extremely complete combustion. So all of the projects operating in Europe significantly exceed the EU emissions requirements, which they in and of themselves significantly exceed Canadian and Alberta emissions requirements. So there's not nothing in the flue stack, but in terms of allowable emissions limits, far exceeds the allowable emissions limits.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation. And again, we look forward to getting to know you over the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great job. And thanks everyone for doing such a great job staying on time as well. Our last presentation in this block is from Brian Zintel of GeoGen. And Brian is Brian with a Y. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Zintel, and I'm one of the co-founders at GeoGen, where we are taking end-of-life oil wells into renewable energy assets. So this requires a new model for geothermal based on kilowatts per well rather than megawatts. To make this profitable, we needed a technical breakthrough, and we developed the GeoGen cycle, a new thermodynamic process. At a high level, traditional geothermal is steam generating power on surface. We use liquid flowing down the well, much like a hydro dam, to generate power 2,000 meters below ground. The geothermal heat then vaporizes the fluid, causing it to return to surface, where it condenses and the cycle repeats. Downhole power generation allows us to ultimately reduce costs to make low temperature geothermal profitable. For $900,000, we can convert an inactive oil well, once seen as a liability, into an asset that cash flows $150,000 per year. This asset will produce renewable electricity. By utilizing existing oil wells, we can accurately measure the temperature downhole, finally allowing geothermal projects to be predictable. Our technology not only generates clean energy, it also helps our customers achieve their sustainability goals. With the sheer number of oil wells in North America already drilled, the potential for electricity generation is in the gigawatts, and it has the ability to offset millions of tons of CO2 emissions annually. This year, we will be working with Spartan Delta, an oil and gas company, on our first full-scale demonstration project. Spartan will continue to hold the wellbore liability. Our business model is to sell geothermal conversions. The well owner operates the well alongside their assets and gets electricity and carbon offsets. We've been at it for over 2 years and built a strong team with backgrounds in piloting technology, full-scale development, and deployment. We are currently in the process of raising $3 million in equity, which will be matched with our grants and used to fund the execution of our field demonstration project and expand our team. With your help, we will change the life cycle of a well and pave the way for a cleaner and more sustainable future. At the end of the day, the oil wells drilled today are the geothermal wells of tomorrow. We are going to normalize end-of-life conversions and create a decentralized energy resource consisting of hundreds of thousands of repurposed wells, ultimately leaving a green energy legacy in regions built around oil and gas development. Lastly, I just wanted to thank everyone for their time today, and I urge you to reach out if you'd like to learn more. And thank you to Startup TNT for the opportunity, and I wish all the rest of the presenters best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So I'm going to start with the regulatory question on this. There's a lot going on in the geothermal space. A lot of companies are trying to crack this nut. What is involved, or have you looked at the regulatory process to convert these wells? Is it beyond just kind of changing your business model, or do you have to transfer liability? What's involved in actually converting old oil and gas wells into geothermal wells from a regulatory standpoint?
There would be a transfer of liability out of the current Orphan Well Association, but the AER has made it very simple to convert the type of well in their current system from an oil and gas producer or an injection well into a geothermal type of well.
Excellent. Okay, so the next question is about competition. I think that we actually have a couple other companies in the geothermal space that are pitching with us as well. What sets you apart? What are you guys doing differently than some of the others?
I would say our biggest differentiator is that we're bringing the heat or the power generation to the heat with that downhole turbine generator. And I think that really allows us to reduce the costs and ultimately use wellbores that have already been been drilled at lower temperatures. We're targeting between 80 and 120 Celsius of downhole temperatures.
Okay. And Leslie, have you got any test wells going, or where are you in your development process?
We have a 5-meter model on surface right now, but our raise is to go towards that Spartan Delta well, and that'll be our first one, and it's already regulatory approved.
Okay, excellent. Good luck to you, and thank you for your presentation, Brian.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Awesome. That's a great way to kick off the first 4. Really exciting. Lots of different categories. Great question, Stephanie. Thank you so much. And obviously representing Foresight extremely well as we're moving forward here. So we're going to move right into our next set. And of course, I'm just going to introduce Camilla Jerger. She is from SDTC, and that is a Sustainable Development Technology of Canada. Camilla, over to you.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Jade. Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here tonight. I'm Camilla, and I'm the local lead from Sustainable Development Technology Canada, or SDTC for short, and I'm based on Treaty 1 territory here in Winnipeg. We're very proud to be tonight's one of the sponsors of tonight's event. SDTC, just to tell you a little bit about us, so we support innovative companies to do extraordinary things. We're Canada's largest sustainability fund, and we support small to medium-sized companies all the way from pre-commercial technology de-risking to commercial growth and scale. If you're curious, myself, I'll be here for a little bit, and also my colleague from Calgary, Jennifer Daou. She's also attending tonight. Feel free to send a note on the chat or visit our website at sdtc.ca. I think we're going to post that on the chat. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our first speaker of this block. So it's E2E Energy Solutions. It's Nick DePerchida who will be presenting. Nick, the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes.
You are muted there, Nick, by the way.
Can you unmute him, Jonah?
I can, 1 second.
Beauty of virtual. Hey, there's always some sort of technical challenge with it. Nick, I don't know if you can hear us, but we can't hear you, pal. You're muted.
Yeah, I've got the mute undone here, but I'm having some other technical problems.
All right, well,
we can hear you now.
We can hear you now and see your slides. So you're looking good from where we sit.
Okay. You can see the slides?
Yeah, I can see the sort of cover slide, the E2E Energy Solutions with the city background.
Okay, you're better than me then.
All right. Do you want to?
For some reason, it's not coming up for me here.
Can you see it in the Zoom?
No, I can't.
All right. Well, maybe we will move on to SolarSteam. So we have Apostle with SolarSteam. We'll maybe get him to share his screen. If you could stop sharing yours. And just so everybody knows, I threw it in the chat here too, but for the Q&A for this block, we have our friends from USEED. We have Gregory Mack doing the Q&A just to introduce him. But with that, we'll let Apostle go and we'll come back to you in a few minutes. Okay, Nick?
Okay, thank you.
Our purpose is to decarbonize some of the highest emitting and hardest to abate heavy industry segments. 1/3 of global energy demand is used by industry, and of that, 80% of industrial energy used is in the form of heat. Heat is required to manufacture the building materials for the roads we build, the buildings we live in, and many of the consumer-based products that we use in our daily lives, such as plastics, clothes, beverages, paper, and even food. But where does heat for industry come from? This is a boiler. It is filled up with water, which is heated by burning fossil fuels to generate and distribute heat. The problem with heat generation is the high cost and high emissions associated with the production process. We can help you generate heat without the problem using SolarSteam technology. Now, let me tell you what we have been up to in the last 1 year. We've been busy with two things. Number one was taking our technology from TRL 5 to TRL 6, all the way to TRL 7. This is a picture of our pilot facility in Ponoka, Alberta, which has been operational for over 6 months. And I want to give a big shout out to Scovan for all their support with the development of that facility. The second thing that we have been busy with is developing our traction. To date, we have been able to attract over $1 million in funding, generate over $150,000 in revenue, and develop an engagement pipeline of over $40 million. We have been conditionally approved for over $1.4 million of projects over the next 12 months, and we have further developed our IP with UCPTO and PCT patent pending filings. This is our full capacity management team, which is supported by 3 full-time employees, 6 advisors, and 2 industry partners. Today, we are offering $2.5 million priced seed rounds, and we also have a safe round open with a 20% discount for the first 1 million. We're also very proud to share that we have been selected as one of the Foresight 50 most investable clean tech companies in Canada. My name is Apostol Radev, CEO and founder of SolarSteam. Thank you so much for this opportunity today.
Thank you, Apostol. That was a fantastic presentation. Great to see you again, by the way.
Good to see you, Greg. Thank you.
You mentioned your pilot at Ponoka. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the results from that, as well as the other demonstration projects that you have. Give us a little bit more color in terms of the validation that you were able to achieve.
Of course, yes. Thank you for the question, Greg. So this is a TRL 7 field pilot that we have developed in partnership with Scovan and their engineering and fabrication capabilities. The system has been operational for over 6 months now. We've been able to demonstrate both hot water and steam generation. We've been able to demonstrate operation at minus 37 degrees Celsius, rapid startups, rapid shutdowns, integration with thermal energy storage. And we've been also able to withstand Gulf-sized hail and winds of over 170 kilometers an hour. In terms, and what that pilot has allowed us to do is to generate actually quite a bit of interest from industry. So we have, currently, we are conditionally approved for a project with the federal government of Canada through Innovative Solutions Canada, starting off with a $550,000 pilot with the opportunity for scale up to $8 million project. We've also been conditionally approved for a pilot with the International Minerals Innovation Institute in Saskatchewan. And we're at the final stage of signing an MOU with a biofuel developer in the state of Washington.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that. Could you elaborate a little bit more on the next step for your technology's development?
So we are highly focusing on what we call design for manufacturing, shipping, and assembly, DFMSA, so that we can meet the strong demand that we have from clients. And the focus there is to really understand what are the limiting factors when it comes to the manufacturing pieces, so that we can fit the largest amount of modules in a single C-can that can be shipped from close to overseas. This will allow for a very rapid deployment using the modularity of our system, which is one of the biggest hurdles with developing some of these multi-megawatt projects, because they can take between 1 to 3 years just in development and commissioning.
Thank you, Apostol. And lastly, could you give us an idea of your competitive advantage in a nutshell?
Yes, so I have a cheesy response every time someone speaks about the competition, but I don't feel we're in competition with anyone. The pie is too big for us to compete. It's all about stackable and complementary solutions. But where we are really focusing on is, once again, the modularity of the system, which allows for rapid deployment and the ability to start with a smaller scale facility at phase 1 and quickly scale up to phase 2 and 3. This way, we can enable companies to meet 2030 targets with a smaller installation, leading up to net zero by 2050 with additional phases.
Excellent, thank you. And back to you, Camilla.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Apostle. Great presentation. And thank Gregory for your questions. So the next company to present is Kynetic Energy from Manitoba, and Don Walker will be presenting. So passing on to Don.
And you are muted there, Don, as well.
You can hear me now?
Sure can, yeah.
Okay, good. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my my deck that I presented to all the investors into a 3-minute period. So what I've decided to do is to show a short video of one of our products that's in development and give you an overview of Kynetic Energy as we speak. So I'll just start playing that right now. My name's Don Walker. I'm the managing director and CFO of Kynetic Energy. The video that you're seeing here is our mobile power plant trailer, or MPPT, which is currently in development. It's been shown to emergency measure organizations in the USA who are fighting to restore down power grids either after hurricanes hit the Gulf states or wildfires have gone through California or Washington state. So this video has been shown to these organizations, and we have a conditional PO from them for 30 to 50 units over the next 5 years, provided we can give them a proof of concept, which they are working with the Canadian government's NRC to give us the help. So KES has been in business since April 2019. We initially raised $1.5 million to establish customer and manufacturing base. Then COVID hit and shut pretty well everything down. So we then focused on improving our 5 kilowatt turbines efficiency and durability. We also started to design a smaller version of our 5 kilowatt turbine, which I call Junior. It's to produce between 500 and 1,000 watts, which with its smaller footprint, we think it will be able to get into the domestic housing market, and 3 or 4 of those units could probably provide power to for a typical home. Also, we can also use that to install on the telco towers. And finally, during this COVID period, we recently established a European joint venture located in Germany. The manager is a former Deutsche Telekom executive, and through his connections, in September, we attended the NGMN conference in Paris, which stands for Next Generation Mobile Network. All of the major telcos in Europe and actually North America were there. And a month later, we were invited into Vodafone's ARC Summit in Luxembourg, where we were surprised to find out that we had been given a chance to provide power for an initial 600 of Vodafone's tower operations in Europe. Their overall objective is to bring renewable energy to the entire 160,000 towers that they have throughout Europe and Africa. We are currently working with Vodafone's engineers to install our 5 kilowatt turbine proof of concept to one of their proposed sites in Great Britain. So that's basically where we are. And like I said, it's all of this is in the deck that I sent out previously, but I just couldn't get it into a 3-minute presentation. So my apologies.
Thanks, Don. I was curious, the vertical axis wind turbine sounds fascinating, and it sounds like you've had some success deploying them already in Europe. You are a Canadian-based company, I believe, and I was wondering, does the operation of your wind turbine consider the specific needs of a cold climate?
Yes, and that's part of the durability improvements that we're trying to make. So it's made out of the blades are made out of aluminum, and we have a special coating that we put on them for the extreme weather in either the north, which was our initial market that we were looking at. We were getting queries from organizations in the Yukon, and so we had to make sure that the blades would withstand the extreme temperatures there, as well as in Africa, the extreme temperatures in those conditions. So.
Okay, thank you very much, Don. I think that's a key consideration for this type of technology, and I believe that we're under some time constraints, so I will hand the floor back to the moderator.
All right, Mila, do you want me to take this? We're going to go back to E2E Energy.
Okay, we're doing E2E now.
That's right. We're going. I think Nick's good to go, so we are going to give that another try.
Awesome.
See if I can get this out. Do you have the screen there?
Yeah, looks good. I can hear you and see your screen, Nick.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. I'm Domenico De Procida, the president and CEO of E2E Energy Solutions, a Calgary-based company focused on new geothermal solutions. The problems surrounding renewable energy today is a lot of the new technologies, although there's many in the pipeline, they're not coming to market fast enough. Wind and solar do not produce baseload power and require batteries. Conventional geothermal solutions. And with conventional geothermal, there's many restrictions, geological, economic limitations, as well as regional. Why E2E's technologies make sense? We have two patented new technologies that focus on enhancing the subterranean. We've proven the results through numerous simulations, computer simulations, both in-house and third-party, as well as physical modeling. Consistent 24-hour baseload power generation, commercialization within 3 to 5 years, no regional, geological or environmental limitations. So E2E's technology overcomes the current limitations, which I'll get into a little more in the next slides. And our business model. The business model E2E has, we're not focused on producers, we're focused on providing a vehicle for industry. So we participate in a licensing arrangement with industry and provide them with the technology to go and deploy. The geothermal market opportunity. So our global market, future global market has a 1,200 gigawatt capacity. The US market having 100 plus gigawatts of capacity. And in Canada here, 10 plus gigawatts of capacity. In globally, we have 15.4 gigawatts installed capacity. And the US, we have 7.1. Canada, we currently have 0. We do have some projects that are up and coming, but nothing is made commercial yet. Our competition, our direct competition is other geothermal companies in our industry, whether it's conventional, enhanced geothermal or AGS geothermal systems. The indirect competition is everybody else producing energy. So from oil and gas through to hydrogen, nuclear, solar, wind. Our IRR projections are 30% combined annual internal rate of return. E2E's a 30% combined annual rate of return. E2E's business model incorporates multiple revenue streams of power, source heat, generated carbon offsets, as well as large-scale commercial power. Lower capital requirements for our process, quicker time to implementation, and opportunity to earn carbon credits. So our technology uses existing technology that the industry is currently using. So we're just giving them the map to develop these. Our financials, year-over-year growth. The average year-over-year growth revenue is 32.4 million. And that provides us with a 30% annual year-over-year growth average. Our ask from our partners is $3 million for 10% equity. The investment is to support our pilot capital requirements, working capital, sales, and marketing. And lastly, the people who made this all possible and put the technology together, E2E's team.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. I'm afraid we don't have time for any questions here. We're just about at the 5-minute mark. So I'm going to throw it back to Camilla to introduce the last company in this block.
Awesome. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay.
You bet.
Okay, good. So thank you very much. The last company of this block is Innova Hydrogen, and the speaker, the presenter is going to be Mac DeRoche, and I'm just passing on to Matt.
Unmute everyone. So yeah, Matt DeRoche, I'm the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of Innova Hydrogen, where we believe in clean energy for a cleaner future. So in North America, over 1,600 million tons of carbon dioxide was released to the atmosphere through the use of natural gas in 2021 alone. For the natural gas industry to survive in a net zero economy, it's going to have to find a way to transition its current product into producing a cleaner source of energy for its customers. Innova believes that we have a solution in our patent-pending technology that produces zero-emission, low-cost hydrogen. This will help the natural gas industry secure its position in producing the over 500 million tons of hydrogen that is expected to be needed by 2050. Innova's catalytic methane pyrolysis technology produces zero-emission hydrogen, all without the need of water or oxygen inputs. This is done by using the existing natural gas infrastructure as seen in the top left-hand corner, where methane flows through our system and is subjected to heat and Innova's proprietary catalyst. This produces near 100% hydrogen that will allow the natural gas industry to supply clean energy for their customers, you see on the bottom left, and an additional source of revenue in the critical mineral graphite. With the growing demand in both hydrogen and graphite, a number of companies have developed their own methods to help backfill this supply, with each having their own technical advantages. That being said, at Innova, we feel that our technology has a strategic advantage that will help the natural gas industry provide these high demand products to the world. Innova's team is built up of energy industry veterans, serial entrepreneurs, technical advisors, and subject matter experts. An example of the experience and gritty work ethic within the Innova management team can be found in our CEO, Cami Giles, and one of her last ventures was able to take a startup company public with a near 5 times exit in about 2.5 years. Innova is still relatively young. We incorporated back in March of 21, but since then, our team has been able to raise $2.1 million in a seed round. We were awarded a $1.2 million grant in partnership with the University of Alberta. We've scaled up our technology 200 times and has been third-party verified. Recent developments include being awarded nearly $1.5 million in granting from NGIF and NRCan pending due diligence. And we've started off our development work on our first pilot, which will be operational this summer, and then located on our industry partners location, Pacific Northern Gas, late next year. So at Innova Hydrogen, we believe in clean energy for a cleaner future. If you're interested in participating in our Series A financing that's about to kick off, or are interested in being an offtake for either hydrogen or graphite, or just wish to learn more, the QR code will take you to my LinkedIn page where you can ask your questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Matt. That was a fantastic presentation.
Thanks.
I was wondering, you're very early stage, but what business model have you anticipated using? Will you license this technology to hydrogen producers? And have you been able to pilot your technology yet with any partners, such as Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, so to answer your first question, right now we're going with a build, own, and operate model. And that's really just to ease the pinch points for those operators, just because hydrogen is, even though it's been produced since the 60s, right? Alberta produces some of the most hydrogen around the world. Those are very large operators. They're more comfortable with it versus on the utility side of things, they're not as. So just to ease that transition, we'll take that over. But then once adoption is accepted, yeah, we could just do licensing. And then as for the pilot, that's going to be kicked off this summer. We've partnered with Innotech Alberta. We're located at the ACCTC. It's a bit of a mouthful, but that's right behind. It's right in the shadow of all the steam coming out of the Shepard gas plant there.
Fantastic. And how would you describe the competitive advantage for your product?
So our competitive advantage is really that we're able to create a consistent graphite product. So that's where the CO2 goes. We don't create any CO2. That carbon is captured as a solid marketable form. Now, there's other companies that can create, a graphene, which is a bit more of a nascent market. And there's other companies that do create graphite, but because of the catalyst that is used, it's not as consistent, which is important when trying to use it in, say, upgrading it for EVs, right? Battery manufacturing.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Matt. That was a great presentation.
Thanks.
I'll pass the floor back to the moderator.
That's me. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Gregory, and thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody. Another 4 amazing companies. I'm excited about the what's that, 8 now? So we got 10 left to go, 11 left to go. I'm super good at math. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce our next block. So co-host is our great friend Amy from Alberta IoT. And asking questions. He told me he was sick this week, but looking at Tudor on the camera here, he looks pretty great. So we're excited to have TNT investor Tudor asking questions. Amy, why don't you tell us about Alberta IoT and then introduce the first company up in your block?
Perfect. Well, just for starters, want to say a huge thank you to Startup TNT for inviting Alberta IoT to be part of the Cleantech Summit. Happy to be here representing the team at Alberta IoT, and I see my colleague Emma Duffy on the call as well. So please feel free to ask either of us any questions or connect with us after as well. A little bit about us. I'm Amy Skull, nonprofit member-based association, ultimately collaborating to provide a common voice to advance the knowledge, adoption, and growth of IoT and emerging technology within Alberta and beyond. We do in a few different ways, including our programming, which includes our Fast Track Business Accelerator program, as well as our Startup Visa program and our Science Park initiative. So if you are curious to learn a little bit more about how we do support organizations and scale up businesses in IoT and emerging technology, please feel free, like I said, to connect with us or check out our Fast Track program online. So with that, very happy to introduce the first company in the third block. Presenting, we have Shabab Saad from CarboMat.
All right, thank you to Amy. Can you guys see the screen? Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Shabab Saad, the co-founder and CEO of CarboMat. Today, I'm here to present our innovative technology to produce high-value carbon fibers from low-value asphaltenes, which has a revenue growth opportunity of multi-billion dollars within the next 10 years. Raise your hands if you are baffled by the current climate change. With over 5,000 million tons of carbon emissions in North America over the past decade, I want to shift the focus to Canada, where its oil sands industries are contributing to at least 5 to 10% of these emissions through various oil sands processing techniques. This brings us to the problem of generating large and massive amounts of low-value waste products known as asphaltenes. Currently, large volumes of asphaltenes are deposited in the 1.18 trillion liters of waste oil sands tailings ponds in Alberta. Interestingly, these asphaltenes have no direct market value except some combustion applications. So this is where CarboMat comes in, where we develop non-combustion applications of low-value asphaltenes by transforming them into high-value materials like carbon fibers. Our low-cost carbon fibers would be competitive to the incumbent and expensive carbon fibers in market and would open doors to widespread applications of carbon fibers in multiple industries, such as composites, automobile, sports, energy, you name it. At this moment, CarboMat has a gram-scale asphaltene-derived carbon fiber production capacity with an aim to scale it up to 1 kilogram by the end of this year. The key advantages of our technology includes, first, a 60% reduction in carbon fiber production cost. Second, a 59% reduction in carbon emissions compared to the current carbon fiber production technique. Third, a technology that is suitable for adoption in existing carbon fiber market. And fourth, most importantly, cutting down at least 65 million tons of carbon emissions every year. Finally, among the $36 billion plus carbon fiber market, we are targeting the carbon fiber composites market, which is worth more than $20 billion. It is important to mention that the current asphaltene production in Alberta is more than enough to meet the present global carbon fiber demand. Our traction so far includes $1 million of non-dilutive funding, a $250,000 seed fund, developing partnerships with supply chain actors, IP protection, and development of a gram-scale fiber spinning facility here in Alberta. At this moment, CarboMat is raising at least $1 million by the end of this year that will help scale up our technology to 1 kilogram scale, with a strong plan to enter field testing by 2024 and an early market entry by 2025. So please join me to help Alberta rise, valorize, decarbonize, and let me be the change for you. Thank you.
Hey, Shabab, very well done. You speak with passion, and that shines through in the presentation. So thank you very much. I wanted to ask a couple of questions. So you are producing some of these carbon fiber strands at this point. I'm curious, what's the price that you're currently making that for per kilogram? What's the target, and how do you intend to get there?
Yeah, great question, Tudor. According to our techno-economic analysis, based on our gram scale production technique, our current carbon fiber production cost is a little bit above $8 per kilogram. I believe that as we scale up the production capacity to 1 kilogram scale, this is going to fall down a little bit below or close to around $7 per kilogram. The competing cost right now in the commercial market, it varies a lot in terms of what application you're trying to target. Commercial carbon fibers in the low end are still close to around $25 to $30 a kilogram.
Thanks very much. Clear answer. I'm getting time checked on the side, so we'll probably leave it at 1. Thanks for the pitch.
Thank you, Tudor.
Perfect. So on to our second pitch of the third block. Very excited to introduce ViVent Bioprocesses, presented by Hermaine Kazmi.
Perfect. Today, the oil and gas industry is facing a significant challenge, methane emissions, which are 20 times as potent as carbon dioxide at trapping the heat in the atmosphere. The Alberta energy regulators reported that 3.1 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent of methane was vented in 2020 from tanks in the oil and gas industry. Currently, there are no economically feasible, desirable, or scalable solutions to address this future regulatory concern or to capture this opportunity. Depending on the carbon credit value you use, this vented methane ranges from 22 million to 131 million dollars of carbon credit value and 97 million methanol market opportunity per year in Alberta alone. This is where ViVent Bioprocesses steps in. With our technology, we can capture these emissions and generate a valuable product. My fellow entrepreneurs and investors, my name is Herman Kazmi, and I am a co-founder of ViVent Bioprocesses, where we believe that leveraging nature's method of breaking down methane is the solution to this challenge. We are developing bioreactors that are unique because we pair an optimal design with the most suited bacterial strain that not only reduces the methane emissions, but also converts it to methanol that can be used as an antifreeze agent on site or sold as a raw product for other materials. What separates us from our competitors is that bioreactors are a plug-and-play solution which can be scaled as required. And this allows us to build practical and desirable configurations such as a trolley-mounted unit or a trailer-mounted unit which can attach to a production tank's vent port. So our laboratory simulations and our economic modeling indicate a financially net positive solution for our customers over the 5-year period. So the business side makes sense, but to make it functional, we are developing partnerships with the University of Calgary, Spartan Controls, and interested operators. So investors, ViVent is looking to raise a total capital investment of $500,000, which will be used in 2 phases. There's a lab testing phase, followed by a field pilot. Also, we are concurrently in process of raising capital from multiple channels, such as research grants at MyTax and NSERC, industry grants at ERA and USEED, and private capital to support the development. So now is the time to join hands with ViVent. After production tanks, our vision is much bigger, and which touches other markets such as that are challenged with methane emissions, such as the agriculture and the consumer goods. So we look forward to working together to make this methane-free future a reality. Thank you for your time, and ViVent, go ViVent.
Hey, Herman, love the logo at the end. Well done. So I wanted to ask a question around the target for where you wanted to focus for the methane emissions. It seems quite modular with the different sizing. Are you seeing many sites with small emissions is a good way to go? It's the trickiest problem, or are you looking for larger sources?
Sorry, there was a little delay, but I'll try my best to answer this question. So we are actually, the beauty of bioreactors is that the size of it will depend on what kind of vent volumes you're dealing with. And so at this time, our biggest area of concern are these smaller vent emissions for which there are no solutions. So we have, for the larger volumes, we have incinerators, we have VRUs, but they are also a big investment. So they're only installed on these large vent volumes in thousands of cubic feet. So our target are these smaller tanks where currently the operators are looking to vent them to the atmosphere because the regulations aren't as stringent at this moment. So they think that at this point it is feasible, and that is where we want to, that's the market we want to capture. So we can size a product that fits their vent volumes, and that will give them the best return.
Very good answer. Thanks very much. I think we have to keep it to one question again. Thanks for the pitch.
No worries. Thank you.
And that means back to me with the final pitch of our third block. I'm pleased to introduce Albert Lee from Closure Liability Management.
Okay. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Albert Lee, CEO of Closure Liability Management based in Calgary. At Closure, we are tackling a problem that exists in all oil and gas producing areas in the world, dormant or inactive wells. Generally speaking, dormant or inactive means a well is no longer producing any hydrocarbons. Currently in Canada, there are 140,000 wells dormant. In the US, there are 1 million documented and up to 1.6 million undocumented dormant wells. Each one of these wells emits on average 2.2 tons per year of CO2 equivalent in methane, and every site that is not restored has the potential to contribute to the contamination of the surrounding land and water. Cost to clean up these sites is projected to be in the hundreds of billions of dollars and take multi-decades to clean up. There's a glaring need for industry to be able to scale up the work capacity to meet the spending needs. Site restoration in Western Canada has been set at $1 billion in 2023, and the US it is expected to be between 2 to 3 billion. Spending targets are also expected to increase dramatically over the next 5 years. Closure is developing software that redefines the traditional workflow for dormant site restoration. We are a B2B software going to market as a SaaS product. Closure is led by a multidisciplinary team with collectively over 93 years of experience. We are dedicated to addressing this critical environmental problem. We understand the pains of our customers because we once sat in those chairs. Any company may be facing tens to hundreds to thousands of dormant sites that are poorly understood. The key to building a multi-year asset retirement plan is understanding the complexity and risk of each site. By digitizing the time-intensive manual workflows, we can dramatically reduce the time required to assess, evaluate, prioritize, and plan. And proper planning leads to more efficient execution of work. Our software quickly analyzes the site to provide clarity of complexity and risk, so you can build an execution plan that is well understood and predictable in scope. We expect to double the work capacity of the average professional working in the closure space. We anticipate there will be a broad use case for the software from the frontline worker all the way up to the executive level. We see a potential market of $10 to $20 million annual recurring revenue in Canada and up to $100 million in the US. Closure stands alone in building a digital solution focused on end-of-life assets. We have the opportunity to become the industry standard in a very large and growing market. Our development timeline in Q2 2023 will be testing our base platform and subsurface module and securing engagements for paid pilots. Q3 2023 will be integrating our software as a service functionality to the platform. Q4 2023, testing of our phase 1 surface module. Q4 2024, testing of our phase 2 surface module. Q1 2025 is the anticipation of the official commercial launch of the SaaS platform. We are currently raising equity to complete development to full commercialization. We are Closure, it's what we do. Thanks very much to Startup TNT Cleantech Summit 2023. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Hey, thanks, Albert. 2 days in a row for me seeing your great pitch. So good to see you again. I know the answer to this question, but what can you tell us about the competitors in this space and how you guys differ from them?
To be honest, we have been kind of keeping our ears open because we've always been watching behind us because no idea is a new idea. So we keep watching for competitors come up behind us. But every potential client we've talked to seems to say we've seen nothing like this in the space. However, all the algorithms are proprietary, so it's everybody's got to come up with the same logic and the same experience to come up with the same product that we have. So we're expecting people come out behind us, but we haven't seen anybody yet.
Awesome. And then I think I got time for a second one here. Do you have existing customers, and what can you tell us about them?
We have approximately 3 recurring customers and a total of 7 paying customers, but we expect those non-recurring customers to come back at some point because we did some advisory work regarding mergers and acquisitions. We advised on some acquisitions. One company went through with the acquisition, another company didn't, based on our advisement of quantifying liabilities. So we have some recurring customers, more on the mid to smaller size companies that don't have their own teams, but we feel we have a pretty broad use case for the entire industry.
Thanks, Albert. Love the logo, love the pitch. I'm going to kick it back to Jade and Neil.
Thanks very much.
Excellent. Thanks, Tudor. And those were three fantastic pitches. Keeping things rolling here. We're excited about what's coming next. We also wanted to say if anybody has any interest in donating to the beer fund for tonight at any of our functions, just Neil will plop up the email address there. Feel free to do it. I can't remember the number up to, but it goes to a good cause. And again, thank you, Amy, for hosting Alberta IoT, and Emma for being here as well. Alberta IoT is a leader in ours, and we're proud of them being a sponsor with us. So moving on, we are going to introduce Alex from BDC. He will introduce the next his company and the next group, and Tom Kischuk from TNT, another investor, will be doing the Q&A. Take it away, Alex.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Corrigan, and I'm joining you today from the traditional unceded Anishinaabe Algonquin territory. I'm from BDC Capital's Climate Tech Fund. We are a multi-stage, late seed to growth fund investing into pure play climate tech Canadian companies with material GHG reduction potential. We are investing in companies and technologies that will help Canada and the globe decarbonize and meet its GHG reduction goals. With over 4,500 jobs created, and 1 billion plus combined annual revenue in 2021, our 50 plus portfolio companies are bringing Canadian climate innovation to the global stage. With over $1 billion in assets under management, we are one of the largest and most active climate tech funds in North America. That being said, it is my pleasure today to introduce the next 4 companies, and kicking it off is Kenneth McLeod, from VDQ-NRG Systems.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kenneth McLeod. I'm Vice President and co-founder of VDQ Energy Systems, where we make tomorrow's fuel from today's trash. Humans produce a staggering amount of waste. Landfills are terrible, and recycling isn't the miracle solution we've been told it is. There's also a massive demand for renewable, low-carbon fuel sources without a supply to keep up. Now, these may seem like issues that aren't related, but VDQ Energy's unique approach actually tackles both problems at once. VDQ Energy is developing and deploying novel solutions that turn waste into renewable fuels and other valuable products in low emission, efficient, and profitable facilities. The plastics processing technology is commercial ready and converts rubber or plastic waste into renewable diesel fuel. And the organics processing technology can convert food, agricultural, and textile waste into fuel and other valuable products. We're currently planning our first facility, which would be located in Saskatchewan and convert waste tires into almost 4 million liters of fuel every year. Once contracts for feedstock supply, fuel sales, and financing are secured, the facility would be operational within 8 months and be producing an annual revenue of around $8 million. Construction of this facility is our primary focus at the moment because it's our quickest path to revenue. We're also developing an organic waste processing system that would be used in combination with the plastics technology to process even more waste. Currently, we're working to develop a commercial scale system. We're working with Saskatchewan Polytechnic, and we aim to demonstrate a commercial pilot in 2025. So every facility that uses VDQ Energy technology will operate as an independent business, but VDQ Energy will provide consolidated engineering, operations, marketing, and repair services. It's a unique approach, but it allows VDQ Energy to generate recurring revenue and reduces the risk to our customers and investors. So this graphic highlights just how large the waste and diesel fuel markets are both at home and globally, and just how much of a unique opportunity VDQ Energy has as we engage both markets at once. Peter Volding is VDQ Energy's president, founder, and primary engineer. He has a diverse background, is a multidisciplinary leader, and is the right person to take on the challenges of this industry. The rest of VDQ Energy's team is talented with ranging backgrounds as well, from lifelong entrepreneurs and accomplished board executives to leading sovereign sales missions with foreign heads of state, and even working in the waste and recycling industry. We also have a number of trusted advisors and evangelists that have helped guide our team. Currently, we're working with a group that specializes in arranging construction capital and debt financing for our first project, but there are numerous costs as part of the fundraising process. Once funding secured, VDQ-NRG will begin generating revenue very quickly. Some funds will also be used to access further non-dilutive funding for our development work with SAS Poly. Thank you for your time tonight. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
All right, Tom Kischek, you here?
All right, yes, I am. Hey, Kenneth, great to see you part of the Cleantech Summit this year.
Thanks,
so I've got a couple questions for you if we've got time. So who do you anticipate might be some of your first customers, the first off-takers for your product?
So we're looking around at what our options are. Ideally, we'd like to actually have Federated Co-op as our primary offtake for our fuel, but we're in the early stages of communicating that. And in terms of our feedstock supply, we're in early discussions with Tire Stewardship Saskatchewan to secure that feedstock and a processing fee.
Okay, sounds good. Lots of activity in this space. Can you comment on what sets your technology apart from some of the other technologies out there?
I think some of the biggest things that set our technology apart is the nature of our technology. We're not burning any waste. We don't have any air emissions from our waste. It's a very efficient process. And simply our approach, having that system where we're providing that consolidated solution de-risks individual facilities because consumers don't have to figure out how to run this technology themselves. And once we get our organics tech on board, being able to process both plastic and organics opens us up to about 90% of household and commercial waste.
All right, thanks very much. Back to Alice, please.
Thank you, Kenneth. That was a great presentation. Next, we have Jen Bilsberger from PolarBlock. Jen, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everyone tonight. My name is Jen Bilsberger, and I'm the co-founder of PolarBlock, an Alberta manufacturer of high-performance building materials. Most of us are aware of increasing need for energy-efficient housing, as well as the lack of housing availability nationally. There's also a slowly increasing awareness and will within the construction industry to build better. The recent National Building Code is tiered for increasing energy efficiency in housing, with a goal to reach net zero by 2030. But historically, energy-efficient solutions have been cumbersome, expensive, and difficult to implement across industry. Our product, PolarBlock, is a highly insulated building envelope, tested to an insulation value 30% higher than currently available envelopes. We manufacture just north of Calgary and source our raw materials from within Canada. With faster and simpler installation and no specialized trades, we're a solid foundation moving forward to energy efficiency. PolarBlock equals energy savings. Energy efficiency decreases ongoing greenhouse gas impact in homes. The speed of construction decreases greenhouse gas impact on site, and our completely airtight structure markedly decreases energy loss. Eliminating thermal bridging at the top of the foundation further makes an impact. Our market is B2B, with early adopters being net zero architects, building envelope engineers, and passive house designers. However, we were designed specifically to offer a simple solution to the broader construction industry, offering benefits for both the front office and the field, solving labor, regulatory, scheduling, and cost impacts. Our recent successful case study proved the commercialized value of PolarBlock with revenue and with a smooth 2-day installation process. Our competitive advantage is that we offer a high-performance product, simple installation, with increased speed of construction, decreasing costs. Our upcoming developments are building a cleaner tomorrow. We have prototyped a complete wall assembly with insulation and patent pending, and development of our mobile manufacturer for large-scale developments, remote construction, and disaster relief. Our team is comprised of my co-founder, Ray Payment, with 35 years in the construction industry and the developer of PolarBlock, myself as executive director, and Jeff Cardo, our VP of Sales and Client Relations. We've been fortunate to have support of CTAC West's advisory board, as well as Foresight Canada, and we're just recently offered seed money from SDTC for our seed. Our funding goals are to get our complete wall assembly testing and production line in place, commercializing that via field trials, and then design and installation of our mobile manufacturing prototype with implementation of self-contained renewables on that, as well as finalizing our IP strategy. Thank you very much for your attention today.
Thanks, Jen. That was a great pitch, and great to see you back in the Cleantech Summit this year. I remember you from a year ago. So in your pitch deck, you provided an example of a pilot up at Buck Lake, and curious as to know what the feedback from your customer was for that application.
Well, they're very satisfied with the end result, actually, and as our one of our first revenue projects, we were hopeful that that they would be, but the job installation went very smooth. In fact, the crew that installed it were very happy with how simple it was to install, which was the whole purpose of us having our block designed the way it is.
Okay, and what's the status of the overall construction? Is the entire structure completed now?
It's not yet completed. They've just actually backfilled and framed up last week. So.
Okay, that's great. So when do you anticipate your first revenue might be?
That was our second revenue.
Okay.
And we actually have a number of additional projects booked for March, early March.
Okay, that's great. So what would have been big win that looked like for you at startup TNT this year?
Well, we're happy to continue with slowly increasing our market share, but obviously we are wanting to attack the broader residential market, and we're trying to do that by means of showing the larger builders that they can implement this at scale.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jen, on the commercial traction. That's very exciting. Next up, we have Andrei Bugrov from Waste-to-Energy Gen.
Andre, are you speaking already? We can't hear you yet.
So 1 second, please.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you now. And to your slides, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Andrei Bugrov. I'm CEO and founder of Waste-to-Energy Generating. I'm from Calgary. We do believe generating electricity and cold energy from low-grade waste heat is the biggest sleeping giant of global energy market. And there is a multi-trillion market worldwide. We can generate electricity from any source of thermal power, waste thermal power, I mean, geothermal, oil gas industries, hydrogen, lithium production, thermal and nuclear power plants, biomass energy producer, waste recycling, steel, chemical, cement, and other industries. We developed an innovative combined thermodynamic cycle based on our inventions and know-hows. This is a brand new generation of waste-to-power solutions. Our technology is a combination of thermodynamic and absorption technology, and this two-in-one combination allows us to generate electricity with an efficiency of 25 to 30% from low-grade heat in a range of 70 to 120 degrees Celsius. Our benefits: power generation from low-grade heat in less than 100 C, energy generation efficiency at 25 to 30%, capital cost reduction by at least 60%, break-even in less than 4 years, 100 megawatts of electricity generation from low-grade heat can reduce CO2 emissions about 151,000 tons. And that means significant reduction in carbon tax payments for our customers. We can reduce carbon tax payments by about $10 million based on 100 megawatts of power generation and $65 per ton carbon tax rate in Alberta today. And total saving will be increased to about $26 million in 2030 when with carbon tax rate of $170 per ton. We created a university lab scale prototype as a proof of concept and a platform for our patents. We have patents granted in the United States in 2020 and in Canada 2021. And we are planning to deploy an industrial pilot project in 2023 and inviting partners from power generation, oil, gas, geothermal, venture capital, academia. It will be a small unit with power generation capacity between 5 to 20 kilowatts. We are raising up to 1 million to deploy this project from venture, angels, government grants. We will be a technology provider based on providing licenses for manufacturers and clients. And our future clients, we are planning to design, develop, and deliver small industrial commercial unit with capacity between 100 kilowatts to 2 megawatts in the next 18 months. Our customers can use our technology as carbon credits to offset their compliance costs under the USA and Canada industrial carbon tax programs. Thank you, everyone. Join us.
Thank you very much, Andrei. Where do you think some of the early applications might be for this technology?
Sorry, say it again, please.
Where do you think some of the biggest opportunities might be to apply this technology?
Biggest opportunity, we are planning to deal with companies from here in Alberta, first of all, from geothermal and oil and gas, because for them, they have lots of trouble with, oil companies, lots of trouble with thermal wasted, and they're looking for a solution just to convert it back to electricity and to increase energy efficiency. And if we're talking about geothermal, we have lots of potential in geothermal here, and anybody looking for electricity power generation, not for thermal power. And for us, it's those two industries are the best clients in Alberta and Canada.
Okay, nice. So you mentioned you've got a pilot plan for 2023. Do you have a site selected for that pilot?
Not yet. We are talking to companies from oil gas business, and I hope within a month or so, a couple months maybe, we will finalize our future industrial plot provider.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Back to you, Alex.
Amazing. Thank you, Andrei, and best of luck with your pilot project. Next, we have Ron Visser from Digital Carbon Bank.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ron Visser, one of the co-founders at Digital Carbon Bank. Pleased to be here and sitting with this group today is pretty exciting. So looking forward to it. Digital Carbon Bank. What we're about is all of the technology companies that we've been listening to today all talk about the carbon credits that get generated through their technology. Where Digital Carbon Bank plays is we actually work with a number of technology companies to monetize their carbon credits, present them into a marketplace, and connect back-end purchasers of those carbon credits. In a marketplace, you have the ability to look at where the credits were generated, and the purchasers can actually select specific high-value auditable credits in order to meet their ESG goals. So some of the challenges that we have in the market today, we all know about the problem of low quality credits. People buy a number of credits and then a couple of years later, they all get pulled back. Our focus is on very high quality auditable credits that align to the protocols that live today, Vera, Gold Standard, ISO, et cetera. So we're only putting high quality credits into the system. And something else that's actually arisen of late is in these calculation of carbon emissions and carbon credits to offset, we've actually identified a significant problem in the oil patch and other industries where joint venture assignment of these obligations are very difficult to manage. And we actually have a joint venture solution that's baked into our platform as well. So what we've come up with is a Carbon Plus platform where high value tokens, again, it's all about auditability and transparency. When we're talking ESG as a back end consumer of the carbon credits in the story, it needs to be auditable. So we look at where the credits are generated, what the technology was that created them. So certain companies will look for specific technologies. And then again, just managing that joint venture component to the whole story. So where we are, as we were developing our platform, we have, and I'll talk about this in a second, so we have most of our platform built out from an MVP perspective, but we recently did an acquisition where we purchased an organization that does joint venture accounting and actually has a machine learning component where they auto audit the joint venture arrangements, and we're applying that to the carbon credit story. Let's get past this one. All right, so the advantages that we have, obviously, this is somewhat of a crowded space. Our focus on the high value, the auditability, we actually have a team of people who work in this space today. They've have extensive time in this space today. So that's one of the very distinct advantages that we have. And really the credit marketplace is an additional value where people can come into the system, they can look through the credits in the system, and they can select those credits that align to their goals, their corporate goals, and their ESG story. So the traction. So with this acquisition, we now have 15 clients. We do have money. We do have revenue coming in. We have received non-dilutive funding. And we're actually part of the Alberta Innovates cohort that's going down to, we've been invited to join them to the South by Southwest conference in Austin. Our very first transaction in our platform is we're actually going to be offsetting the entire entourage carbon footprint for their trip down to Austin and back. So that will be the very first transaction on our platform. So we're looking forward to that. Obviously, need to have a ubiquitous hockey stick graph in your presentation. So here it is. We've essentially been bootstrapping, but we are looking at raising about $1 million right now with subsequent rounds to come. I'll skip over this. Team story is pretty strong. We'll get into that, but we do have a majority of our team have 20+ years of experience in this space. All right, with that, thank you very much for the opportunity and look forward to your questions.
All right, I'm afraid we're out of time for questions here, Ron, but that was super interesting. So thanks for a great pitch. And I'll kick it back to Alex.
All right.
I think it might be the time for Trevor. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm kicking it back to myself.
Yeah, kick it back to yourself, Neil. Hey?
Well, that's right.
So here we go.
Alex is so much more friendly than I am that it's probably better that that I just kick it back to her and see how she handles it than me anyways. So all right, well, we have one block left, everybody. I know this is a good chunk of listening to awesome companies. If you want to move your bodies and stand up and turn your camera off or keep it on, and we'd love to see people moving around on screen. With that being said, our next co-host is with our friends Amy out of Edmonton. So we have Trevor from there. And I don't know if you saw him in the chat before, but when I was asking what provinces people were from, I quizzed out if anybody was from BC. But we have Daniel from the Renewal Funds. They're a VC fund based out of Vancouver, and he's going to be doing the Q&A for this last block. So with that being said, I'll kick it over to Trevor.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And excellent. So the mute is off. All right. So I'd like to acknowledge up front, we are talking to you tonight from Treaty 6 territory here in downtown Edmonton. Thank you very much for having us. Amy is the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. We are part of the Pan-Canadian AI strategy. We help companies bridge the gap between academia and Main Street business. We offer education, events, products, internships, and so much more, mainly focused on helping companies to increase their own internal capacities. AI and clean tech offers so many opportunities to companies, and Amy has the pleasure of working with companies to make this as seamless as possible. At this point, I'm excited to pass this over to Radha with Litus.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gara, and today I'm going to present to you Litus. At Litus, we're developing breakthrough nanotechnology to create solutions that are more abundant, more accessible, efficient, and environmental. We're starting with Link to unlock lithium that is required to support the global energy transition. The world needs lithium, and there is no doubt that there's a dramatic shortage of that key component, with auto manufacturers transitioning towards electric vehicles. It's predicted that by 2030, there will be a 500% increase towards transitioning to electric vehicles, and 80% of that is required for the automobile industry. Lithium is a critical component. It is deemed strategic for governments, NGOs, and industries to curb climate change. Unfortunately, all existing technologies to extract lithium are either not efficient, cannot extract more than 50% of the lithium that is present in the source, or they leave a high environmental impact, or they simply cannot scale. With us, we have a new potential with the sources that have low concentrations of lithium, and there is simply no viable existing technology. At Litus, we've created a unique patent-pending nanomaterial processing solution that can extract lithium with unmatched high efficiency and low environmental cost. It's a breakthrough solution that can effectively and efficiently extract lithium from those low concentration sources that is designed with the stability and robustness to withstand real-world conditions at commercial scale. We are looking to unlock over $7 trillion in currently uneconomic lithium reserves, and we're helping to bring the targets of auto manufacturers and climate leaders into our reality. We've done an extensive study to compare with our competitors. It is a busy space, and we found that our technology is less than 50% in both CapEx and OpEx, and we're far more durable and environmental. And we have the team that can just make that happen. We are a team with deep technical expertise in nanochemistry and industrial scale catalysts in chemical processing, engineering, and water purification. We have 3 revenue streams. The first one is through licensing our technology. Second is selling our nanomaterials. And the third is from building, operating, transferring, and maintaining those plants. Our beachhead market is focused on the dilute lithium sources, and these are the ones that are present in oil fields and geothermal sources. That's estimated at a full $4 billion market, where Litus can license about $280 million per year. That takes us to the broader lithium market of $150 billion a year. We have scaled twice, going from lab to bench and a bench to a mini pilot. We have paying customers, which we're really excited about because they're happy with our results. It gave us a lot of validation that we were able to achieve the goals of these customers. And finishing and completing that first round of successful projects, we're now moving into the next stages with those customers where they want to expedite the pilot testing. Even though we're focused on lithium, we are building a complete platform of battery mineral extraction facility and technologies that focus first on lithium, but we're already working on another patent for another strategic component, and we're really excited about that. Right now, we're fundraising. We're looking to raise $1.5 million to help us expedite the build of an on-field demo unit and to grow our team. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the great presentation. I think we just have room for one question, but it'd be great to know what the process and the timeline looks like for deployment of your solution. What kind of third parties do you need, and what kind of stakeholders do you need buy-in from in terms of your customer base?
That's excellent, and thank you for the question. We're looking to build this on the field. So right now we have a demo partner. We're looking to partner with engineering firms, which we already have that going to build this demo. So it's really expediting the build of that demo, the engineering design, and the deployment on the field.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think that's it for Q&A, so I'll hand it back to the host.
Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That was fantastic. Thank you, Gata. Next up is Tim with Innervision Borehole.
Tim, you're on mute.
You should have a
There
pop
we
up on your
go.
screen.
We are done. We're good. We're here.
That's right.
Hi, everyone. Tim Davies from Innervision. We're a company that's going to be attacking the methane emissions problem. It's a huge problem, and all of our customers are very much aware of it, as they are the world's largest oil and gas companies.
Hey,
And
sorry, Tim, just interject. Did you want to share a screen, or do you have a slide deck that you wanted to share?
Well, I am sharing the screen, it says.
Okay. No, it's
okay.
we're not seeing it on our end. I thought you might want to know that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It was sounding very compelling even without the deck, so you're doing great, but I just thought you'd want to know.
Yeah, I definitely do. I'm just trying to do it now. Unmute myself again. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Can everyone hear and see me?
I can see it in yeah, like a PDF that you can slide up and down.
There we go.
And now you're in presentation mode, and I can see you and hear you. You're great.
Too many buttons. So we're looking after methane and GHG. Overall, the problem is called well integrity. Thousands and thousands of wells in Alberta are leaking. Often takes 3 to 5 attempts at 50 grand per to fix the wells. And that doesn't even work that well. They're using old technology, not our technology. Our technology essentially eliminates all the other sensors they put down the hole to detect leaks and to find holes in casing and flows behind the casing and through cement. We've also done this in the fracking world, where we map the hole through the cement into the formation to make sure there's no leaks or anything going up the well bore. Canadian oil sands innovators and the companies who are sponsoring our company can see up to 40 million tons methane or GHG equivalent, can save $250,000 a well when they're doing the workover by running our inspection tool. Our tool itself combines all kinds of technologies, but we're focusing on methane emission and looking through steel, cement, and rock from the bottom of a well to the top of the well in 3D at the resolution of a human hair. And we can see flow behind pipes. We're sponsored by the COSIA group of companies, which is responsible for over half of Canada's oil and gas production. They have many thousands of wells for us to do, and they're paying for our test facilities. The 5-year projections we're looking at within the Lloydminster and the heavy oil regions, at looking at doing between 1,500 wells and 3,500 wells by 2027. Our market is very strong. Our clients very much want our technology. There's an awful lot of lateral movement too. We can be used in subsea and offshore, thermal, and the new hydrogen economy and carbon sequestering. If you cannot see corrosion from the outside of the pipe when it's in the ground, you have a problem, and we fix that problem as our clients that's what they want us to do. All of them are the majors. They need to not have emissions. They need to be seen and be actually doing the most they can to eliminate this problem. Our tool does that for them, which is why we're getting the strong support from our clients, future clients, and we're getting strong support from the global deployment partners that are the major service companies. We're looking to raise $2.5 million, $2 million really. We have approximately $1.2 million in grants, NRC, Cleantech, Alberta Innovates, and firstly in was SDTC Canada, $100,000. So that's in. We also have raised about a quarter of our equity raise right now. So we're off to a great start. And we have a fantastic team. The team we've done it. We've done several exits. We've built complex things, and we've run good businesses. That's us in a nutshell. We have a very unique patented technology that no one else in the world has, with very little competition and huge clients saying so and paying for our development. It's just a fantastic story for us. We can do real things and be making money in 2024, and hopefully provide our investors with a great exit. That's it.
That's great, Tim. Thank you so much. And methane is definitely an underappreciated issue and greenhouse gas. I think we have time for a very quick question, but I would love to know what is the secret sauce with the hardware? Have you designed it in-house, or is your expertise in the integration of existing hardware?
No, it's actually a little bit of both. We have our own patented way of imaging that allows us to go through steel, cement, rock, and allows us to do resolution, which is at least 4 times better than any other imager on the planet. We can run it fast and we can run it cost effectively. We do all of our integrated electronics. Our only big partners will be the NVIDIA, Microsoft real-time AI, which whilst being experts in AI, we need it to run over 2,000 frames a second. So we need those guys. So we're partnering with those guys. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Tim. I'll pass it back to Trevor.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Great job, Tim. Next up, we have Jay with Pressure Corp.
Hey, everybody. Share my screen real quick here. There you go. Perfect. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. It's always great to be second last. That means that people are really listening by the time you get to the end. So if you aren't listening, maybe time back in a little bit for my sake would be great. Pressure Corp, we are a waste pressure developer, and what we are doing is we're converting waste pressure from liquids and gas pipelines and converting it into ESG and commercial value. If you've never heard of waste pressure before, essentially gas and liquids are shipped under really high pressure. When they get somewhere that you need to use it, like an industrial facility, a city gate, a distribution point, you have to drop the pressure. When gas and liquids expand and flow, that is a form of mechanical energy. So Pressure Corp uses established technology. We have really deep relationships with a bunch of technology suppliers who we actually finance their equipment. And when you install a waste pressure power system, it generates all of these commercial opportunities that come out of it. Pressure Corp, as a company, is focused on deploying projects now. We have the ability to reduce emissions for oil and gas this year, which is not that many people can say. In terms of how our business is built, we bring everything that is required to deploy a project. The biggest challenge to reducing emissions in the short term is not a technology issue. It is a capital deployment problem. So Pressure Corp has raised a debt facility that allows us to finance projects because a clean energy project will never clear the hurdle rates of an oil and gas company's internal hurdle rates. So to sidestep that issue, we bring the capital to the game. We bring the established technology with the suppliers to the game. We can structure commercial agreements in a multitude of different fashions, whether it's behind the fence, interconnection, whatever it is, in terms of selling after clean energy generated. And then we have engineering resources in-house. In terms of what we are doing as a company, it's been very exciting. I just landed from Calgary this afternoon. This slide is out of date because of that trip to Calgary by a significant amount. We are on the pathway to be deploying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of projects in the next couple of years as a development company. We are actually in the midst of our seed round. We have secured our lead investor. We are interested in taking on strategics at this time. So examples would be people who have oil and gas experience, utilities, project financing, et cetera. Those are the people that we want to add to our team through our cap table. The terms I have down there, pre-money safe, we have a $20 million valuation, 10% discount, and the minimum check size we have is 50 grand USD. Please feel free to send me an email or call my cell phone there at any time. Happy to chat about waste pressure and how we develop the product. So with that, answer any questions you might have.
That was awesome. I think it's a pretty unique solution. I'm curious to hear more about the persona of your customers, given the wide variety of sites and how it looks even within the same industry or even the same customer. How do you differentiate which ones will actually be viable?
So what you need for a viable waste pressure source is a sufficient flow of gas or liquids. So you find that primarily in front of like large industrial, thinking ammonia plants, or midstream assets in front of utilities, cogen, et cetera. The people that I talk to, so I lead the origination efforts in BD at Pressure Corp. I talk to a lot of different people. It's planning folks, sustainability people, VPs of business development, whoever it is. Because Pressure Corp is offering a commercial and ESG solution. We have this unique product package that nobody else really has right now. These oil and gas companies, there's a lot of great companies that we've seen here today that are doing some really great tech. And then I really would support all of those technology advancements. But we are coming to our customers saying, I have everything you need to get something on your sustainability report this year. I'm not going to charge you for it. In fact, I'm actually going to sell you cheaper power.
Okay, it's helpful. And then quick last question would be, why has nobody taken this approach before, addressing the difficulties in getting capital and using this technology?
It is only until recently that the market forces have aligned that allow waste pressure to be the feasible in the way it is. It's a multitude of different things. Power prices are up. There's an actual real want from our customers to reduce their emissions, which is critical to this. And it's outside of regulatory pressures. These companies have committed despite what's going on in carbon markets or anything else. There's things like ITCs in the United States, investment tax credits. If you are not familiar with what investment tax credits are in the United States, I recommend that you look them up. They are the single largest financing opportunity for clean energy ever. It allows you to take 40% of your CapEx of your project and pull it out into cash in the first year through a tax credit. So there's things like that. And then also it's just the technology partners. The core of the technology is turbo expanders. They've been around since the 30s. We work with a multitude of manufacturers who have taken their existing turbo expander tech and just altered it slightly for the application. They are interested in rolling out across, the rest of the world. I actually take sales calls with our manufacturing partners because we're aligned on the supply chain.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great answer. And we'll pass it back to Trevor.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jay. That was fantastic. And to close off the evening here, we have James from MissionNet.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I'm well aware I'm in between everyone and a beer here, so I'll make it snappy, or at least 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm James Ingalls, CEO of MissionNet. And I'll start by telling you a story that really sets the stage for MissionNet. So in 2021, a major pipeline had a pressure safety valve release, which isn't an uncommon occurrence. However, due to location, it shut down a highway and was posted all over social media, which is actually where this picture is taken from. And it'll ultimately cost the pipeline over $3 million for a 2-hour event. One of the worst parts is that there was no way for the pipeline to know before they received a phone call. But this is a symptom of a much larger problem, which is that the energy industry is largely blind to anything not control related, and it's becoming a major liability. So what's stopping them? Why hasn't this already been solved? Well, there's a major underlying problem with remote data capabilities. And to illustrate this, we'll look at the options for connecting a remote sensor to a company network. So there's 3. There's wired connections, but the infrastructure doesn't exist and it's far too expensive to deploy at these remote locations. There's cellular, which works, but only where you have coverage. And where these devices operate, there often is no coverage. And even if there is coverage, the cost and power requirements of the devices, as well as the complexity of managing the SIM cards and data plans for each sensor, make it untenable at scale. And that leaves us with satellite, which is generally what's used when cellular isn't an option, but it's far too costly for these large-scale distributed systems. So we're stuck. And there's no way to deploy emissions and environmental monitoring on the scale required that makes any sense. And that's why we designed MissionNet, to use energy infrastructure to ship data, not just fossil fuels. And we're doing that by constructing a carrier-grade IoT communications network down the pipelines, eliminating the need for cellular and satellite connections at the sensors, and drastically reducing the cost and complexity of large-scale emissions and environmental monitoring systems. To give you a sense of how MissionNet works, we mount our communications equipment on existing energy infrastructure, allowing us to blanket rural areas without the need to acquire land or construct towers. Within the MissionNet coverage area, users can leverage low-cost IoT devices to communicate from the field back to their analytics servers in real time. So MissionNet owns and operates the network, managing the complexities of large-scale IoT deployments and system integration. and through economies of scale, providing a carrier-grade sensor communication solution with better coverage and at a lower price point than our customers could achieve on their own. A great indication of our market fit is that we had an operational pilot within a year of founding, which was signed by TC Energy CIO. And through the pilot, we've demonstrated the security as well as the range and reliability of the technology. And we've transitioned to testing our real-time emissions monitoring system, which is our flagship use case and the only real-time emissions monitoring solution actively being tested by TC Energy. And that's due to our ability to monitor high probability leak points on the scale that they require. And this is all building towards MissionNet's ultimate vision, which is to own and operate the world's largest IoT network. Our business model is to underpin the network with long-term energy industry contracts while supplementing our returns by selling our essentially unlimited network capacity to the communities the energy industry operates within. You can really think of MissionNet as an IoT telecom and system integrator with a focus on emissions and environmental monitoring. Now, in order to achieve something of this scale, we require a very talented team, which we've spent the last year building, with expertise and relationships spanning the energy, telecom, finance, and industrial sensors and analytics spaces. Our $700,000 ask will provide MissionNet with an 18-month runway to the large-scale commercial demo we have in our line of sight, at which point MissionNet will be revenue generating and timed perfectly to capture the energy industry market through the scramble for real-time emissions monitoring tech. Thank you.
That's great. I think we have room for one question. So curious, how do you communicate the economic value proposition to your customer and also build the trust to let them allow you to operate an asset on their, in their facilities?
Yeah, definitely. So that is a challenge in the energy industry in general, and hugely in the midstream, because they're very risk adverse. And so that's where our competitive advantage that is built out of our team's relationships comes in, because we can not only get through the front door, but we can actually talk to the people that can say yes and get out there with a pilot or a demo and build on that relationship we already have and expand their trust of the system.
That's great. Thank you so much. And awesome pitch.
Thanks so much.
Great way to round out the night.
Great way to round out, James. And thank you to Daniel and Trevor for that, finishing it up. And there you have it. 19 pitches, one night. Unbelievable amount of knowledge shared today. An amazing clean tech companies out there. And I'm excited to get to know them over the next couple months, as is Neil, as is all of our investors. So, of course, we have 5 after parties right now in Calgary here. We are going to be going down to Inner City Brewing. If anybody wants to come on down there, we're hoping have a toast, and talk about some of the great things that we saw today. We do have a beer tab going. I believe it's Cheers at Startup TNT, or you can put some money to it there. That's usually what I do. But yeah, we're excited. Neil, any final thoughts?
Yeah, that was amazing. Getting through 19 pitches like that, it's a long evening, but it's so energizing to see all these amazing founders building cool companies in the cities and communities where we live. And yeah, this is like one of my favorite nights of the year. We do this three times a year, and I love it. So lots of people ask us, what are we trying to accomplish here? But I think you guys just all experienced it. Like scientists, entrepreneurs, investors, service providers, activators, people that are just interested in tech. Everybody wants to be part of this great community, working together to build these awesome startups that'll transform our economy and solve global challenges like these clean tech companies. So thank you all for being part of our community. At the finale night on March 23rd, it's going to be live in Edmonton for clean tech, but you can check it out online. We're going to be investing in at least one of these companies, and probably 3+ if history would tell us anything. So anybody that wants to get to know some more information about these companies, please reach out to them. They've shared a ton of info in the chat. They're on LinkedIn, and let's have a ton of fun and make some friends and build some companies. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. And I'll see some of you.
Bye-bye.